Hi, so I'm Andrew, and I'm going to do a playthrough of the DOS game Supremacy running in an emulator to show how to beat it on the hardest level. With me is my son Hugh. Hello, Hugh.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Who doesn't know the game, so will help make sure that my explanations are somewhat complete as we go. So we're looking at the splash screen. I'm going to select the hardest level, the evil Rorn, and we go straight into the game. The game's been hacked to remove copy protection. I did that in like 1996.
Of course you
Now,
did.
first thing I'm doing is cutting the tax rate to 0. I'm actually going to pause for a sec here because this goes
Yes.
very fast right at the beginning.
I must say I'm already a little lost.
So the first thing I did was cut the tax rate to 0. That causes the population to increase. And the second thing that I'm doing now is buying solar satellites, which generate energy. So I'll freeze that in a second. So I'm buying 3 solar satellites to fill up my cargo bays. So you can see now the top left is my docking bay of my home planet, which has 3 solar satellites in it. The bottom section is all my ships, which currently are just those 3 solar satellites. So I'm now going to launch these 3 solar satellites into orbit so that they can generate electricity.
So
Power.
the general resources you need are power, population, and food.
We'll freeze it on the planet screen, and we'll see. No, that's still the ship screen. Launch another 3 solar satellites. So I now have 6 satellites in orbit. And I'm now buying a mining station. I'm actually going to buy 2.
Mining station presumably gives you
Minerals and fuel.
minerals and fuel. Okay.
So this is the main screen that we need to see. This is Starbase, which is my home planet, currently my only planet. Here's what's going on.
Okay.
The date is 11/20/10. So we've actually gone through 10 days of gameplay already. This is a real-time game and it goes fast,
Okay.
which is a major consideration. So I have 22,000 credits. That's after buying my 6 solar satellites, and I think I just bought 2 mining stations.
Yes.
I have 3,300 food, which are being eaten by my population, which you can see in the top right is 2,488 and growing. So the tax rate I dropped to 0 in order to maximize the rate of population growth.
And presumably, once the population gets big, you can bring the taxes back on a bit more.
Yes. So if we look at this from the end first, to win the game, you look at the bottom section of the screen, you can see 32 boxes, which are planets.
Okay.
Top left, furthest from me, is the enemy base where the evil Rorn is dwelling. Bottom right is Starbase, where I am.
Yes.
I have to conquer enemy base. The 30 planets in between are currently not suitable for habitation. Those will need to be terraformed either by me or by Rorn before anyone can use them. So we'll get onto that quite shortly. So to conquer enemy base, I need to equip a large number of troops, put them on battleships, fly them to enemy base, land them, and fight the defenders on enemy base. But weapons for troops cost a lot of credits, so I currently have 22,000 credits. I will need to send something like 4,000 troops to enemy base.
Yeah.
And to equip that many troops with the best equipment I can get, which is what I will need to do, will take about 1.5 million credits.
Okay.
And I will have to do that more than once because I have to wear down the enemy.
Okay.
So I have 22,000 credits. I need 3 million to equip my army.
Okay. So you're some of the way there. A
So
little bit.
to get that many credits, I need to be taxing a large population.
Yes.
So I have two early priorities in the game. One is to grow population, and I need to grow it beyond Starbase. I generally go for 3 populated planets to generate tax revenue.
Yeah.
And then also to feed that much population, I will need to have hydroponic stations that produce food, farming stations.
Okay.
I haven't bought any of those yet because to build farming stations, I need minerals and energy. So my initial, so the initial phase of the game for me is 2 things: grow population and generate energy and minerals.
Yeah.
So that's what I've done. So those solar satellites were cheap. So I could throw 6 of them up. They don't take up space because they're in orbit. They didn't cost much of my credits. They're unmanned. They didn't use any of my population. So they're just up there creating energy.
Yeah.
But I've bought 2 mining stations. However, those are still sitting in my docking bay. They're not yet mining.
Oh, okay.
So that's the next step here, is to do something with those. However, those need to be manned. They take about 100 crew each. Now, I have enough people, but because the population growth is a percentage, if I put too many of my population into the mining stations right at the beginning of the game, then it will take me quite a long time to replace that population in my main pool. So we resume the game. So the next stage in the game is to do something with these mining stations, to man them. So my population is growing. Again, date is now 14. We're now 14 days into the first year of the game, which is 2010.
Yes.
Population is up to 2,800. My target actually for Starbase is a population of approaching 9,000. So we went through that a bit fast. I have crewed that station now.
Okay.
And now I'm moving it onto the planetary surface so that it can function. So that is now running. Only one of the 2 is now running, but that is now generating fuels and mineral.
Yeah.
And I've now just crewed the second one, and I'm putting that on. And my population is still about 2,800. So while we've been talking, while I've been doing this, and now population is up to 3,000. And now I'm buying a 3rd mining station. And now I'm crewing it. And now I'm putting it on the planetary surface. It's actually unusual you start off with enough credits to get 6 solar satellites and 3 mining stations. But this run through of the game, I started with that many. Note, I'm not getting any more at this point because I cut the tax rate to 0. But trying to tax a tiny population just stunts your growth and doesn't raise much money. So now I'm starting to train some troops.
I see.
So I'm going to create my first platoon of troops.
Yes.
Maximum of 200 troops. I get warning messages from the enemy, but he doesn't like that I'm training troops.
You mentioned how you started the game. How much RNG is involved with the game? Like, how much of your likeliness to win and how quickly you win is based on?
So obviously there's the behaviour of Rorn himself, which varies a little, but not in any systematic way. The biggest variance you'll see is where I start terraforming planets, because they can come out in different types. Starbase is an urban planet, always. But as I terraform new planets, you'll see they come out as different types of planets, which have different properties. So that's probably the largest random variance in the game.
I see.
So now my population is up to getting on to 5,000. I'm increasing the tax rate. That will slow the population growth, but it's laggy. So the population growth will gradually decline with the higher tax rate. And with tax rate of 36, it will still be positive growth, but it will be very slow positive growth. And now that I've got some money coming in, I'm looking at buying more equipment. So my food is going down, but I've got food for a while here. So I'm going to need to build horticultural stations, but that's not pressing. Actually, the next thing I'm going to buy is the terraformer that will allow me to start terraforming other planets so that I can expand. Population is still growing, you see, now 6,500. Again, my target, the maximum that you can accommodate on planets is 30,000, but I can't feed 30,000 on Starbase. So I'm aiming for 9,000. I'm also gradually, it takes 100 days, which is a year and a half, to fully train troops to their maximum. You can use them before they're trained to that level, but they won't be as effective. So I now have 400 troops in training. Troops do not eat food and do not pay taxes.
Okay.
The not eating food thing seems a little odd, but that's how the game works.
Okay. Peculiar.
So I'm fiddling with a tax rate just below 40%. So 40% is the long run break even. If taxes are 40%, your population will stabilize. I'm keeping it a bit below because I want to have, I'm going to be using some troops for some of my population for other things. So we went very fast there. I've bought my first terraformer. Well, you can only have one, in fact. I bought a terraformer, and I'm terraforming the planet nearest to Starbase. Yeah. This takes time.
Okay. How much time?
That varies a lot, but I think it's constant. So each planet is different, depends on the size of the planet. The first one is quite quick. It's only 5 days. Some of them can take 30, 40 days.
Okay.
There are 64 days in a year. So you can see the date now is 2/2011. So that's 66 days into the game. Okay. 2 days into the second year of the game. There's no time limit.
Yeah.
If you're trying to win this game for the first time, you can go much slower than I'm going. I'm kind of speeding through this.
This is a certified speedrun.
You can build up a bit more slowly. You can't go too slowly because you need to be ready with troops because the enemy will start attacking you. But that's not going to happen for a while. So, I'm starting to terraform planets. Population, although I say I'm close to the break-even rate, the population is still growing as the lagging effect of the tax rate having been lower. So it does take a long time to stabilize. That morale was at 100 when tax rate was 0 and is still gradually dropping, and then the population growth drops based on the morale and the tax rate. So I'm at 8,000. 8,000 I can feed with 3 horticultural stations. You'll see in the bottom right, I only have space for 3 more stations on Starbase because there's only 6 boxes there and 3 of them have mining stations.
Once you get the next planet, presumably you can
that planet will have another 6 boxes. So these arbitrary limits are in fact a big part of the game. You can have 24 military units at a time. You can have 32 ships at a time, and ships includes things like the mining stations and my solar satellites. So you have to work within those numbers.
Not to get meta, is that an intended feature or just a necessity from
it's
being
both. It's
game?
Both. It's both. I'd say, yeah. It would be a very different game if you made these things unlimited. So Planet 1 is now terraformed, and we can see in the picture there that it is a desert planet.
Yes.
That's completely useless. So it's not completely useless, but I'm not bothered with it. I don't want to use it. I don't want to devote. Again, I can only have so many ships. I don't want ships on a planet that doesn't get me any bonuses.
Yeah.
A solar satellite in orbit around a desert planet will produce extra energy, but so what? I then have to move that energy, which takes ages, and it's better to just generate energy on Starbase where I need it.
Well, yeah.
So I've just bought my first horticultural station, crewed it, and put it on the planet. So I'm now producing food, not as much food as my population is eating. You'll see my limiting factor right now is the cash. The cash is coming in. A food station costs about 17,000. I currently have 7,000. So as I get cash in, but the cash is coming in quite quickly now with a population of 8,500. So I will soon be able to get my last 2 horticultural stations and be able to sustainably feed the population that I have here. 16,995 is the cost, but you'll see the minerals and energy cost are there. So this is why I started with the solar stations. You can start by buying your horticultural stations and you've got food for your population, and then you run out of minerals and energy and you can't do anything.
No, buy more troops,
I'm keeping pushing a few more troops in training. Once I start occupying planets, I'll want to garrison them in case they get attacked.
Going back to RNG and going back to Planet 1, the desert planet.
Yep.
Planet 1 presumably randomly.
Yes, so it's random. There are 4 kinds of planets: desert planets, volcanic planets, jungle planets, and urban planets. How you get an urban planet, I'm not sure.
Designed by George Lucas.
Normally you would have to build cities to have an urban planet, but this is just the way it works. So once I have
troops.
Once I so for population, what I want are either urban planets where you get extra tax revenue for the same amount of people, or jungle planets where you get more food from your horticultural stations so that you can have more people for the same amount of ships built and on the ground. So I'm fiddling with it. So I have people, you get a small population on newly terraformed planets, but those desert planets I'm not going to put food on. I've increasing taxes to keep the population tiny and stable until the food runs out. You have to be a little callous here. So Starbase is now fully done. It has 6 ships on the surface. I can't fit any more. It has a population just below 9,000 and stable. It can feed that population indefinitely. Those ships on the surface incidentally use energy, but I have 6 solar satellites. 1 solar satellite is providing energy for those 6 ships, and the other 5 are producing energy that I can use for building. So I'm now looking at my troop. They're gradually, the bottom right in the military unit screen shows the training level. So the first one I recruited and put into training is just about fully trained now, up to 100%. So I'm keeping these coming. It costs me population, but that's not such a big deal with 9,000 on the planet as it was when I had like 1,000, and I was taking a big chunk of population out. So I'm just waiting now for my second planet. Oh, a huge electromagnetic storm has accidentally turned off all my ships. So that will catch you out once. If you don't go and turn them back on again, then you just notice that a year later that you've run out of food and everyone's dead.
How much time passes in real time to make 1 year?
So each day is about 10 seconds, I think. You can see it ticking there in the top right. So it's about 5 minutes for a year, 5 to 10 minutes for a year.
Oh, okay. We said that a year was 64 days.
Which is 64 days, yeah.
Yeah, 640 seconds.
So I've just bought my first battleship, which can carry troops.
How many troops?
So it can carry 4 of these units, and the units can have up to 200. So my first unit of 200 I've loaded onto the battleship. I've crewed the battleship. I'm now fueling up the battleship, and I'm now going to send the battleship to Planet 3, which is a jungle planet.
Okay.
So Planet 3 is a jungle planet. I'm going to cut the tax rate there to 0 to build up the population.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send one of my solar satellites there so that I will have energy to power ships there. And I'm looking at buying a horticultural station. I don't have the cash right now.
Okay.
So I've landed a battleship. So I've put a garrison of 1 unit on planet 3. So if the enemy lands troops there, there'll be a fight.
Incidentally, I see the enemy now have their own second planet.
Yes, the enemy is also terraforming planets. So I could start attacking his planets. The problem is actually you need fuel to travel that distance, and they are out of range of a fully fueled battleship at this point. So this refueling business is going to become a big deal. So I've now built another farming ship. Whoops. And I put that on planet 3. It's enabled, so I'm now producing some food on planet 3. Because I'm a jungle planet, this is producing more food than one farming station does on Starbase.
Yeah.
So I can actually probably I can support population of something like 5, probably 6 or 7,000 with just that one. And if I put 3, probably more than that, 7 or 8,000. If I put 3 of horticultural stations on planet 3, I'll be able to support a maximum 30,000 population. Okay. So that's good for planet 3. I'm also formatting planet 4. So now a major consideration in this game, you can shift things around from planet to planet. I could take 4,000 people from Starbase, load them onto a battleship as passengers, move them to planet 3, unload them there, and boost up that population. As a general rule, doing that just takes so much time of game time, of playing time, that you don't have time to do it. It's not efficient. It's better to make all your planets as self-sufficient as possible, so you don't have to be shipping things around from one planet to another.
Okay.
But it's possible. It's possible. You can even, I could grow food on that planet 3 and ship it as cargo to Starbase, so I could support a bigger population on Starbase. It's just that would take me so much time of loading and unloading ships. So I'm now putting a second farming station on planet 3. Just give it enough fuel to get there. Fuel will become a major consideration later in the game. Right now it isn't. I built all those mining stations because I needed a lot of resources to build out all my horticultural stations. And that's producing enough fuel for the little bits of flying around. Once I want to be sending...
Take on...
once I want to be sending 4 or 5 battleships from one end of the system to the other, I'm going to need a lot of fuel, and managing fuel becomes a big deal. So because of that, I've just built another mining station, and I'm sending that to planet 3. That's not ideal. I prefer to have mining stations on volcanic planets where they produce more, but I'm just making sure I'm still generating minerals. I'm out of minerals now. 170 isn't enough to build another horticultural station. So, contrary to what I just said, I will need to ship minerals back to Starbase so that I can build my next horticultural station. But
that's going to be a faff.
That's going to be a faff.
Something of a setback.
Yeah, but you need to do that. I need a lot of minerals, and I also need to have a population on Starbase to recruit as troops. You only recruit troops from Starbase. You only build ships on Starbase. So that's So I'm going to need to ship minerals back to Starbase from other planets. So I've got 1 mining station now on planet 3, and planet 4 has just come up. And planet 4 is volcanic.
I must ask, who is this strange man?
That is the evil Rorn.
That is the evil Rorn.
So his face becomes more bright as he conquers more planets.
Okay.
So it's kind of an indication of the risk.
Okay.
So planet 4 has a tiny population. I'm not going to bother feeding that, but for 200, if it doesn't grow any, it's not going to run out of food anytime soon. But planet 4, I can now because it's a mining station, because it's a volcanic planet, mining stations will do much better there. So that's really good. I have to have a volcanic planet, really. I'm not happy if I don't have one to use. So right now I'm commissioning a second unit of troops. I'm not giving them the very best equipment because I don't have that much cash at this point in the game.
Yeah.
So I'm giving them slightly better than the minimum equipment. And that's a trade-off because they're not so well equipped. I will need more of them to defend. An interesting point is I don't have any troops on Starbase. It turns out that the enemy will not attack Starbase if you have other planets that are defended. Which is a bit silly of him, really, because attacking Starbase is all he needs to do to win.
Is he stupid or something?
So I'm now I'm now defending Planet 4, and he's attacking Planet 3. And he's attacking... We went very fast there.
Yes.
He has more power. He has a stronger army on Planet 3 than I have. So I'm going to lose on Planet 3 in time, unless I reinforce it. But in the meantime, I've moved the mining station that I put on Planet 3. I've moved it to Planet 4, where it will do more good. Cash you don't have to ship. So the taxes that are raised on other planets go to Starbase just by hitting that pile of gold there, that one.
Yes.
So I have cash. I'm now going to commission a third unit for 44,000 and get ready. So I don't quite have the cash to commission a fourth. Those units I'm going to use. There's Battle 1, needs refueling. As you can see, I still have quite a lot of fuel at this stage from my mining stations. I'm not worried about fuel. Planet 3 is now... more than half my troops on Planet 3 have been killed. I'm just waiting to get to 44,000 credits here, which is what I need to equip 200 troops with this level of equipment. I'm nearly there. 42,000. Your credits actually go up every 2 days. That's the tax collection frequency. So now I have 2 units on my battleship, and I'm shipping that battleship to Planet 3, which takes 3 days. And then when I get there, I'm going to land in the docking bay on Planet 3, and then I'm going to move. And that was cutting it fine. I have 9 troops left on Planet 3. The numbers of troops seems pretty odd, right? Very small numbers. I now have 400 troops defending Planet 3.
400 to defend the whole planet?
Yeah.
I suppose we have 3 stations on it.
And I'm now loading my battleship. I landed my battleship on Planet 4. I filled up its hold with minerals that have been produced on Planet 4, and I'm sending that home. And Planet 5 has now just been terraformed, and that's another jungle planet. So I've increased the tax rate a bit because I'm not ready to equip that. I've now taken one of the mining stations from Starbase, and I'm going to send that also to Planet 4, where it will do more good. So I have 1 mining station on Planet 4. I've just moving one of the, and now my battleship, I've just unloaded the minerals that I've collected on Planet 4 so that I can now use those minerals to build another farming station, which I'm replacing. So I now have 4 farming stations on Starbase, not 3, which means I can support more population on Starbase. When I land that mining station, I will have 2 mining stations on Planet 4 producing fuel and minerals. And in the meantime, I'm equipping more troops. How's Planet 3 doing for fighting at this point?
You're getting more units in. More
Yeah,
troops.
but I need to start training more because I don't have many now in training. I've commissioned most of the troops that were training. So they have phases. First you train them, then you commission them. Their skill level is fixed once you commission them. They don't continue to improve. Enemy has taken Planet 2. Planet 2 was one of the desert planets that I didn't put anything on.
Yes.
Again, because the limit of troops is just not at all possible to defend all the planets. So you concentrate on a few planets and defend them. He's got Planet 2. I didn't have anything on it. I had no people on it. I had no equipment on it. I had no money on it.
You mentioned with how once you start going on the attack against him, fuel becomes a
Yeah.
large factor. He's been quite on the attack against you, and has even taken one of your closest planets.
Yeah, he has. He has. So I need mineral fuel. He has actually nuclear powered ships that don't need fuel.
Oh,
In if you let the game go long enough, plans get leaked and you can start building them yourself. But I actually intend to win the game before that happens.
of course.
But yeah, the first time, that's one of the reasons the game actually gets easier as it goes along.
Yes.
So I'm now moving a battleship to planet 4. So I'm using the battleship here as a little cargo ship. It can only handle 600 tons of cargo, but that's enough for now. You can build cargo ships, and I will later, but not worth managing at this point. So I've now got round to landing that second mining station on planet 4. That's the one I moved. And Battle 1 has come back with a load of minerals. So I now have 600 minerals. I can buy another. So this is the limiting factor on my growth here. I need to collect the minerals, get them to Starbase, build new farming stations, move them out, start growing the population. Planet 5, if you recall, was another jungle planet that I want to grow population on.
Yes.
So here my population now is 10,000 on Starbase. Now that I have 4 horticultural stations, I can actually support 11,000. So my population is a bit below what it should be, but
Oh, you've gotten better equipment as
and
well.
now I'm starting to put the top level equipment in. So that costs 109,000 per troop per person. No, 109,000 per unit of 200 rather.
Okay.
So yeah, but now that I've got that larger population, the money is starting to come in. And planet 6 is formatted, and that's another volcanic planet, which I don't really actually have a use for. Now, actually, with 2 jungle planets and a volcanic planet, that's really all I need at this stage. I'm continuing to terraform more planets because it doesn't cost me anything.
I do have some questions. What planet type are you looking for right now? Be it that you don't.
Like I say, I'm not right now. I have. Once I get to a large sustainable population on the 2 jungle planets, I'm in a good position going forward. Those will produce enough taxes. Trying to hold and manage a third populated planet would be possible, but quite a lot of effort. More than 3 is not doable on top of Starbase. So I'm not really looking for more planets at this point. I'm just terraforming more. Partly there are some more randomness. There are sort of disasters that happen, not very randomly, except they hit random planets. So
The more you have.
the more I have, the less likely they are to hit a planet that I need.
Yes.
So planet 5, right, planet 5 I've just cut the tax rate on. I'm now ready to start putting horticultural stations on it and grow the population on planet 5. So that's the next step. So I'm flying or farming 7 to planet 5. I'm dropping some troops on planet 5 so it's defended. And I'm on the way back, I'm going to stop off planet 4, refuel and load up on minerals and a bit of energy. So the energy is just to use up spare space, but I do need energy on Starbase to build more ships. And the solar satellite, the solar satellite produces more than enough energy to support the ships that are on planet 4. So there's a bit of surplus that I can bring back. I've got 2,600 energy on Starbase. That's enough for 2 ships. It's not enough for 3. So yeah, I have enough, but I don't have tons, and adding a little to it by filling up the corners of my cargo bay with spare energy is okay. So I've got credits now enough for another fully equipped unit. There it goes.
With the dune shields and all.
Yeah.
Classic David Lynch.
Yeah. And now I've got enough minerals to buy. Oh, I don't have enough credits because I just spent them all on that unit. But at this point, nearly all my money is going to equipping troops.
Yeah.
And buying a few ships is small change. So I happened to be out of small change, but now I've got it. It just took a few days to pull in enough cash to build Farming 8, which is going to go to Planet 5.
Yeah, so right now you're in a very good position. You're not worried about too much.
Everything's going fine.
Such as Sorker.
I've forgotten if I'm sending this to Planet 4 is not right. Planet 4 is my mineral planet. I don't want to land that there. I've sent Farming 8 to the wrong planet. So I'm sending it on to Planet 5. That's where I want it. So we land that. So again, with the jungle planet, that's enough for about 15,000 population with 2. Now, there's an event that happens quite soon every time on this level. So these events seem random, but they're not. On a given level of the game, they always happen at the same time.
Yeah.
So the farming stations will become more productive. So that's why I put the effort into getting population onto both those jungle planets rather than filling one up and then working on the second. Because once this thing happens, I'll be able to increase. I'll have those horticultural stations will be able to support 2 planets at maximum population.
This is similar to the leaked information.
Yes.
This is the kind of event that helps you.
Yes.
Yes. I was expecting it to be famine, wipes out half your planets. Or
Yeah,
something.
but both can happen. But no, this one is so Farming 8 is there. So Planet 3 is under attack again, and quite weak again. Over, not defended adequately at this point. I've only got 1 unit here. Can I get another one? I'm just a couple of thousand short. So if I just wait a second, there we go. So I can now give 2 fully maximum equipped units out to Planet 3 to defend that. Again, remember when I said I needed 3 million to equip my attack force? That's not counting all this equipment that I'm using to equip defensive forces. Right? I haven't gone on the attack yet. So now my strength is triple the enemy strength. That will hold for a while. And again, I'm going to do the normal thing. The battleship that just dropped the troops up, I'm going to move to the mineral planet, refuel it, fill up the cargo bay with minerals. So now I have enough minerals to build another ship. But again, ships, I've got 2 horticultural stations on each of my jungle planets. I want 3. So I only need to build 2 more, 1 for each. And then I'm pretty much built out. Although, random disasters can take out ships, can take out whole planets. So Battle 1 is now down. Unload the minerals and buy another.
Do random events or do they ever attack Starbase?
No.
No. Starbase, you're just safe.
Starbase is safe. But I've got population 10,000. So Planet 7 is now terraformed. Just in the middle of something else. Let's get Farming 9 down. So Planet 3 is now fully built up. And here is the event. Your scientists have come up with an amazing new hybrid plant form that has doubled the output of all your horticultural stations.
Well done, scientists.
So now, even with two horticultural stations on a jungle planet, that can support the maximum population of 30,000.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to be doing now is cutting tax rates to grow that population.
Okay.
So tax rate is 0 on Planet 3. So Planet 3 has 30,000, so I can put the tax rate up to 40. Starbase now can also support a higher population, so I'm cutting the tax rate there. And I have 100,000 credits.
It must be humorous to be one of your civilians where your tax rate just flies.
Yeah.
From 60% to
Well,
2%.
it's interesting that, when that happens, they start reproducing immediately, and my population immediately starts to grow. Yes, we could. This is a family channel.
Of course.
But yeah, as the cash is rolling in now, so I want, and I've got large population, so basically there's no reason now for me to ever have a unit that isn't either commissioned or in training,
Yeah.
because I'm going to need them. So Planet 5. Right, so I'm now, although those two are enough, that this miraculous new plant hybrid actually turns out to have problems later. So
Oh.
although I'm getting the extra cash now from the high population, I want to build up a food surplus, and I want to have, once we go back to the old strain of plants, I'm going to need extra horticultural stations to support the population. So that's why I'm still building those out and sending them. So I've got just commissioned another unit, and I've got 93,000. So 109 is the target to commission a unit. I think I'm losing that battle, but it's close. That's going to hold for a while.
Which battle?
That was Planet 3. So
okay.
he seems to he does tend to concentrate his attacks on one planet at a time, but that's not reliable. Now, I terraformed Planet 8, which is not the next one.
I noticed, yeah.
So the purpose of this is to be a refueling stop. So I would like it, ideally, to be a volcanic planet so it can generate its own food. But it's an urban planet. Now, I'm not going to attempt to keep a population there, because a planet with horticultural stations and a population, it will be more of a target to be attacked, and it's harder for me to defend a planet that's further from Starbase because it takes me longer to transport troops there to defend it. Yeah. So I don't want to. So
you want to leave it bare so it's not a target.
Exactly. So now I've got my three. Now I've got my three. So it did say I've run out of food on Planet 6. I don't care about Planet 6. Planet 6 I'm not using. Yeah, so I had a few people on it. They ate all the food. Now they're out of food and they're dying. Sucks to be them.
Sorry. You're getting the bad ending.
So still collecting minerals, but I'm probably don't need to now. I basically, that's just, these are kind of, one thing, I might screw up and lose one of my planets, in which case I'll probably need to build more horticultural stations to replace if I lose a planet. But I actually, if all goes well, I've built all the ground stations I need to build at this point. And that's what takes up minerals. So I should have enough minerals, basically. But I will need a lot more fuel. So I've terraformed Planet 8. Planet 8 is one short of being the maximum range of a battleship fully fueled from Starbase. So I want one of those 3 planets around there to be a refueling stop. Yeah. But that means I need to have fuel there. So I need to either put a mining station on it to generate fuel, or ship fuel there, or both.
Alarmingly stupid question. Mm-hmm. The grid of planets, that's not geographic.
No, it's actually a list, not a grid. Okay. It's one dimensional.
That is what I thought. Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So my early units that have got wiped out, I can now just re-recruit. So Unit 3 got wiped out in a battle.
So I noticed there's multiple ranks to these units. I haven't. That's just
a description of the training level. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I haven't asked many questions about how the combat actually works.
So.
How do you war?
So all these units are units that have been wiped out in combat. So it's very, very simple, essentially. The higher the ratio of enemy strength to your strength, the faster you lose. So Planet 9 I've terraformed, and that's jungle. Still not. So I'm just trying all three here. If one of them is a volcanic planet, that's a slight advantage. It's not essential. I will have to use one of these three planets. Oh, that's a weird thing. That happens every time again. Aliens show up out of nowhere, demand food and fuel.
Yeah.
And you can either give it to them, or they just take more. So I just said to give it to them. It happens once. It happens at this time. You lose a little bit of food and fuel, not terribly much. It's not a big deal.
You are going to have to explain the lore of Supremacy at some point.
So that planet is nearly out. 42 troops there. So battle 1, I'm fueling up. I'm going to have to put some troops on it. I'll recruit some more if I can. So get as much cash to Starbase. I've only got cash for one more, but I think I've got some troops on Starbase ready to go. Yeah. So I'm going to take... I'm making 13 and 14 as a pair, just to try and keep them organised. But it's more important to be quick than... So 12 is still on Starbase. 13 and 14 are on their way to Planet 3, which is nearly out of strength. So his strength is 400, my strength is 200. I've just loaded a strength of about another 3,500 there. So that will hold. While I'm there, I'm just taking some of the spare energy. I probably won't need it, but it's not going to do any good there. So that can come back to Starbase in case I need it. So land on Starbase, unload the energy, refuel. So I've got energy for 2 ships. I've got minerals for 1 ship, but I actually don't need to be building very much at this point. Everything's happy. Actually, 3 horticultural stations isn't quite enough to be stable on a jungle planet, but it's so close that if you've got a big food store there from when I was using the clever hybrid, I don't need to worry about it. It's not going to run out in 30 years.
Oh, we've lost the clever hybrid.
Not yet, but we will.
Okay.
So we're building up. We're building up a food surplus.
Surely all of the food surplus you built would be the tainted hybrids.
No, so I think the problem is with the soil, not with the food. It's perfectly good food, but it's damaging the soil, so I have to stop using it later. So now I'm buying a second. So I'm ready to start preparing to go on the offensive. I've bought a second battleship.
Yeah.
So that's sitting in a docking bay on Starbase. I'm leveling out the population on Starbase, again, with the plant hybrid and 4 farming stations. I've got population about 23,000. I'm going to equip more troops if I can afford it. I've run out. So now Battleship 2, let's crew it, fuel it up. I'm going to load that up. So a battleship can carry 4 units. Right, so I'm going to need to defend one of these as a refueling base. So Planet 1 I'm going to keep for the time being around Starbase and my populated planets to defend them. Again, the battleship doesn't fight, it just carries troops. So Battle 1 I'm sending to Planet 4. Planet 4 is defended by one old... Oh, Planet 5's under attack now. But it's holding.
Okay.
Planet 4 is defended by one of my early, not very well equipped units. So I want to replace that with 2 fully equipped units.
Yeah.
And bring... I'll get some fuel and minerals since it's full of them. I'm going to bring that unit back with the poor equipment back to Starbase and re-equip it. Again, the arbitrary limit of 24 troops is a huge deal here. So I can't I don't want a unit sitting out there that's not doing any good, because I can only have 24 and I'm going to need them all. The game would be much easier if you could have more. So he's not fully trained yet, 67%. So this is the one that I've just brought back. So I've decommissioned the unit, changed the equipment, recommissioned it. So basically, the old equipment went in the bin, and I've spent another 100,000 on better equipment. But the 200 men were still fully trained and are still fully trained, so I didn't have to train them again. And yeah, with cash rolling in, I'm commissioning more troops. Yeah, we get to the point where the limit on my troops is the 24 rather than the amount of cash I have on hand.
Yeah.
So
That happens a lot in... that kind of thing happens a lot in a lot of video games. Yeah.
I mean, it's still, when I start throwing them in suicide waves against enemy base, then the cash starts to become a question again.
Yeah.
But
it is very... it is all very...
So that is holding, but that's getting quite weak, Planet 5 now. So keep the cash coming in. I've got enough for another one. So I've got 6 units now on. So I'm going to load up Battle 2 with 4 units. I'm going to fuel it to max, and I'm going to put fuel in its cargo hold as well. Again, this is where fuel really becomes an issue. And I'm sending that to Planet 8. Planet 10 is still terraforming, so I'm going to choose either Planet 8 or Planet 10 to be my... Planet 10 is now terraformed.
What is it? Let's see.
What is it? It's a desert planet. So I'm just going to use Planet 8 as my refueling base.
Yeah.
I'd prefer to have a volcanic one, but I don't. It's not terrible.
Not great luck on this one, I guess.
So Planet 8 is going to be my... It's out of food, so it's got 1,000 people slowly dying because they're out of food.
Were you going to save them?
No. That would take too much time. Planet 5 is under quite heavy attack. But yeah, the cash is rolling in. I'm still commissioning troops quite a rate now.
And you can hit your 24 limit.
Yeah. I mean, I've gone round the 24, but I was able to recruit more from units that had just been wiped out in earlier battles. So I'm kind of on my second rotation round the units now. But I need to defend Planet 5. And Battle 2 is now on Planet 8. So I'm dropping 2 of the units I took onto Planet 8. And I'm still a bit stuffed for fuel because there's not enough fuel. So to get to enemy base, I need to make 2 refueling stops. Farming 6 is not turned on there. Oops.
Oh no.
I've got farming 6 and it seems to be looked like it was turned off. Did I get something wrong there? So I've built another mining ship.
Yeah.
I've fully fueled it and it has a huge fuel tank, and I'm sending that to Planet 8. Battle 1 is... nearly forgot to land those troops. Again, it's juggling all this stuff in your head. I've got ships on the way between planets, and I have to remember to land them when they get there. It doesn't tell you stuff. Yeah, so now I'm looking for the odd units that have been wiped out and putting them back into training. Yeah, it's a real limiting factor, just the time it takes. You've got to hold your finger on the button for about a day of game time to put 200 troops into training.
Yeah.
And
that's a day where other things are happening. Battles happening, or
there's battles happening, there's ships landing, there's food being eaten, all of that. So when I talked at the beginning about the resources you're managing, the fuel and the minerals and the energy, your time is actually one of the most important resources to manage efficiently.
Yeah.
Big part of the game. So I'm sending one of my solar satellites. The solar satellites that I bought right at the very beginning of the game, I don't need that pile of surplus energy on Starbase now because I've built all my ships. So I'm just sending them out if I'm putting ships on another planet, I just send one of Starbase's solar satellites from Starbase to there to provide energy for those to use. So I've put that mining station, but the spare fuel it had left over, I've unloaded. So I've now loaded that spare fuel, and I have enough fuel to fully refuel Battle 2. If you remember, Battle 2 still has 2 units on board, because I only unloaded 2. Enemies taken Planet 9. That's one of the refueling stops I didn't use, so that's not a problem. Battle 1 is... I'm just going to... Again, on the way back from Planet 5, where it landed, the reinforcements. So now I'm more concerned with fuel than with minerals. So I'm bringing fuel back from Planet 4 to Starbase rather than minerals. And I'm shifting fuel around in a battleship with a cargo bay size of 600 isn't very efficient. So I've just built a cargo ship, and I'm sending that to Planet 4, except I missed. I sent it to Planet 5, sent it to Planet 4.
Yeah.
So Battle 1 is landed. Yeah, so I'm almost out of fuel on Starbase now with all the ships I'm sending out. So now I'm worried about fuel.
We really could have done with that other volcano planet.
Well, I'm adding... I've only got 2 mining stations currently on Planet 4. I'm just built a third, which I'm just sending out to Planet 4. There's room for 6, so 6 mining stations on a volcanic planet produce an immense amount of fuel. I don't need a second volcanic planet, but it'd be nice to have Planet 8 as a volcanic planet because then I don't have to move the fuel. I'm going to spend a lot of time moving fuel around, but that's a bigger problem than generating fuel. I now have 3 mining stations on Planet 4 producing fuel. And Battle 2 has now got a full fuel tank. So Battle 2 now, I'm sending, if you saw that, I'm going to pause this. Battle 2 has 2 units still on board, because I dropped 2 to be a garrison on the refueling stop. I fully fueled it. I filled its cargo tank with fuel, and I'm starting the attack now. I'm sending it to this planet, Patar, which is within reach of enemy base. So Battle 2 is now on its way to an enemy planet that, again, is close to the limit of my fuel range. I'm just keeping all my troops in training. 21st. First. I've got enough cash for 1 more. Yeah, that's fully trained. Like I say, you need 2 refueling bases to get from Starbase to enemy base. Again, if you're patient, there's a development where you get more efficient engines, and you can do it with 1. But I'm not patient. I want to have won the game before that happens. So I've just unloaded 2,000 fuel on my refueling base, and now I'm just attacking. So that's an attack. I've just So I have a battleship in a cargo bay on Patar, on an enemy planet. I can't do anything there except load and unload troops or take off. You do have to be careful. If you land in an enemy planet and run out of fuel, you can't take off.
Yeah.
And if you fill up the cargo bays, you can't fill up then you can't load more you can't land more ships there. But
they're just stuck there.
That's fine. But I've got enough troops there to win. We're 10 years in, 1/2020. It has turned out the plant hybrid is damaging the soil. So now in this game, I had 2 jungle planets. So with the jungle planets can still support a population of 30,000, even on the old hybrid. If I had an urban planet instead, which in some ways is better, I would have to actually drop the population down.
What value does an urban planet give?
It gives you more tax for the same amount of people.
Okay.
So an urban planet can produce a bit more tax than a jungle planet, but a jungle planet's easier to manage because there's this limit of 30,000 people. If you've got the horticultural stations, you can't run out of food on a jungle planet. on an urban planet, you'll have a lower population, but more tax revenue. But you have to manage that population a bit more carefully, because if you're not careful, it goes a bit too high, you run out of food.
Okay.
So actually, what I prefer to have is one of each, but I didn't get an urban planet near Starbase.
No, your urban planet is your pit stop.
I took two jungle planets instead, and that works out fine. So battle one is still just ferrying defensive units around. Enemy attacking planet 5 again, but that's safe there. I've got 4-to-1 ratio. Battle 2 is on its way out to the first refueling stop. What? Oh, on its way back to the first refueling stop.
Okay.
Yes, I've taken Patar. I didn't even see that. I've taken Patar. So I now own that planet. I always, again, you've got a little leeway, but I just always go for that one. That's seven planets from enemy base as being my final stop. I could take the one below it or the one above it. You can actually scout them out. You can spy them to see what's there. But to be honest, I don't care. If I need to land more troops on it, I will. So I still haven't attacked enemy base, but I now have...
You know what you need.
I have a garrison on each of my refueling stops.
No, I might be crazy, but every time it goes to this screen of all the soldier people, I'm sure I briefly see a weird alien man between the others. Is that just me?
I think so.
Perhaps it's just
I don't think
me.
so. So, right, yeah. So I had to increase the tax rate on Starbase because the population was more than I could support with the old plants, and I'm trying to balance again because it's so laggy. This is a bit tricky when you're doing it in odd bits of time while doing everything else. You've got to increase the. Now I've got those 2 units with 4 people left in them on a planet that is not being attacked. Yes, that number 9 and number 10, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, they're here. They're taking up 2 unit slots, but they've only got 4 people. So I think it's time to bring those home or get them killed. Getting them killed is easier.
Don't do it.
So Battle 1 is on Starbase. Fuel it up. So I'm not fully fueling it because it's going to Planet 4, which is my fuel base. So it's going to Planet 3 first. Yeah, it's Planet 3 that has these units on. So land Battle 1 on Planet 3. Pick up these 2 units. Still got 250 fuel. Move them to Planet 4. Fuel up. And fill up the cargo bay with fuel, and now take them either to... now Planet 5 is under attack, so I can, since I'm just next door, I can dump these here.
You're going to kill them.
Oh, that's their job, right? That battle is going on. If it wasn't them, it would be 4 guys from the other units that are already there. And this cargo ship is just shipping fuel around. So I can get 2,250 fuel in the cargo hold. So that I'm shipping some fuel back to Starbase because that's where my expeditions have to start from. So I need some fuel there. And now Planet 9, Platoon 9 has 0 people in it, so I can re-recruit it. So the other way you can do it is you bring it home and disband it, but that's actually more work.
Yeah.
You've got to wait for it to come home. Just getting them killed is quicker.
I feel like evil Rorn might be the good guy. And you might be the evil Andrew.
So my cargo ship is just moving fuel around at this point.
Yeah, just trying to get fuel everywhere because I think that's why you wanted to.
And you can see, so I've loaded up Battle 2 again with 4. So that's the maximum amount of attacking force I can get on a battleship, and it's heading out back to Planet 8. And Battle 1 which should be my defensive. Yeah, so population here is coming down to 9,000. Actually, I've still got 4 here, so I can actually support 12,000. Again, fine control of population is a bit tricky. I really want to have an extra couple of thousand people on Starbase, and that'll bring in a bit more cash. But the cash isn't a huge problem at this point, right? I'm equipping troops as fast as I'm training them. At this point, I've got cash there for 3.5 units just on hand, and I've got no units free ready to be commissioned. Okay, that's just holding, but won't hold forever. Next attack, I'll need to defend it again. So yeah, battle 1, I'm going to reinforce planet 5.
Does he plan to take Ptah back?
He might. So again, depends. There's no... I don't think there's any equipment on planet 5. Oh, sorry, on Ptah. So it's not a terribly attractive target to him. He doesn't understand the strategy, right? That it's a vital refueling base that I need in order to kill him.
Yes.
He just picks targets. So it quite often happens that forward base gets attacked, but it hasn't been so far. So Battle 2 is now outbound with a full load. So I've landed Battle 2 on my first refueling base. I'm now sending it from the first refueling base to the second refueling base. And I'm still looking for units that I can commission, which I don't actually have any of. It's unusual that he's so single-minded in this game. He's just attacking Planet 5. Planet 3 hasn't been attacked in ages. Planet 4 has never been attacked. That's actually a little surprising.
Yeah. He's usually a lot more sporadic, I guess.
Yeah, he normally will split his attacks between 2 planets for a while. But this is good. This makes it easy. It's easier for me to keep one planet defended than to manage battles running on multiple planets at once.
Yeah. It's less to focus on. You just know Planet 5 needs to make sure it has guys.
Now, when I have to start throwing units into attack, I'm not going to be able to keep so many defenses on my planets. I'm actually going to run down and I'll take some risks, but we're not quite there yet. Battle 2 is now at Ptah, so there we go. So yeah, I didn't actually take much losses conquering Ptah. So fuel on Ptah is a big deal. So there's a bit there at the moment, and Cargo 1 is on planet 8.
What kind of planet was Ptah?
I don't know. I think I even have checked. I don't really want to put equipment on it. So Cargo 1 has emptied a load of fuel on planet 8 and is going back to fill up again. I do have 1 mining station on planet 8, but that's only producing so much fuel. Again, we're at the stage now where managing fuel is one of the biggest parts of the game. Okay, that's one of the disasters. I've been lucky here. Planet 1, acid rainfall on Planet 1, destroying all ships. Planet 1 is a desert planet I don't have anything on. If that had happened on Planet 5, I'd have to rapidly replace all my horticultural stations.
Yeah, all the jungle stuff.
But so that's why it's quite nice to have all these planets, even though I've got nothing on them.
9 planets, and most of them are worthless deserts.
So that's lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite often. I mean, it's not the end of the world if I lose 6 ships, but it means I need to have the minerals, I need to have the energy, I need to build the ships, I need to ship them all out. It takes like 20, 30 days. It slows me down. I've got 1 million credits now, so that's enough for 9.
A third of the way.
9. Well, yeah.
3 million, but you've already bought half the stuff you need.
Well, no. Again, the troops that are going to attack enemy base, I mostly don't have yet.
Oh, okay.
That's the 3 million. So I've got 4 of them that are on Battle 2 and are on my way out. But that's all. I'm going to need 20 or so more.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah, this is coming in fast. They're yeah, it's not a matter of I need 3 million. I've got 3 million now. I spend it but I will be equipping these troops as they're trained, and I need to have the money coming in to do it.
Yeah. The evil Rorn does seem to have more planets than you,
Yeah, but again, slightly
but
more.
less
But
strategic.
again, most of the ones I have, I don't really have. They're
Yeah.
just I've terraformed them and didn't do anything with them. I have six planets that I
Yeah.
care about, and that's about all I can do.
Starbase, your jungle planet,
So
your mining planet, your
Battle 1, I'm still defending Planet 5. It's still a big deal. I think
two
got
refueling bases, and that's it.
I've cut it fine a few times. I'm actually taking four units to Planet 5 now, not two. Mostly I've been taking two at a time. But
Yeah.
now we'll dump all four here. Now those third and fourth are going to get wiped out, and then the fifth and sixth I might bring back.
I noticed there's this aggression meter that you keep at 25%.
Yes, I haven't. Yeah, so you kind of get the best long run results with the aggression at minimum, but you can win if you're winning. You can win quicker by having the aggression higher. Yeah, so that fifth and sixth, I'm just going to bring back and retrain. I think so. What am I doing on Planet 4? Just refueling. Not sure that was worth doing. Oh right. I see. Yeah. So I'm starting to reduce now the garrisons. I had 2 units on Planet 4, which has never ever been attacked. So I'm taking one of those. I'm landing that on platform 3, taking those. So now I've got 4 units that are below full strength. 2 that were on Planet 5 that I've replaced. One that was, and then 2 that were on Planet 3 that I've replaced with 1 from Planet 4. So I'm reducing the garrisons on the planets that are not under attack, and I've brought back 4 units because I need to get them into training because I've run out of space. So that's one of them. So I decommission it. I recruit troops up, so they actually go down to 0% training when I accidentally hit the wrong button there. They go down to 0. Every troop you add, the training level goes down 1%. So when I take an 86%, it goes down to 0.
Okay.
So those need retraining, but they are back in training. Those 186s will only go down to 86. But I'll leave them in training. So I now got those 4 units in training to recommission and go back into the attack, and now the second is back to 200. It's nice to have them in convenient blocks, but at the beginning, you commission a unit, send it into battle, commission another one, they just get scattered around the place. So buying Battle 3, third battleship. Okay, another event here.
Yeah.
I just missed it. Planet 8, a dino-electric storm filled up the energy batteries. So Planet 8 now has 30,000 energy.
Oh, it's one of those good events.
Yeah, although it doesn't actually, it doesn't help that much.
You have no use for that right now. But
So Battle 3, I'm putting 4 units on. So this is also heading outbound to Planet 8. So I've got 2 shipfuls of troops ready to attack now. That's not enough.
no, you need a bit more.
I want 4 to start with. So there's another unit ready. But I still have to keep defending Planet 5, which is still under attack. How's it doing? It's doing fine. So Battle 2, I think, is still on Ptar. So that cargo 1 is fueling up. Yeah, I've got to move fuel around. So I've got 12,000 fuel on Planet 4. Again, it's enough fuel. I just need to. It's just the time it takes to get it to where it's needed. So I think I need that on Patar. Cargo 1's on the way out full of fuel. Battle 3 is on planet 8. So I've got 4,000 fuel on planet 8. I need to keep my cargo bay full of fuel to take it to Patar. So yes, the amount of fuel on Patar is kind of a limit at this stage. I could buy a mining station and put it on Patar, but again, that makes Patar more of a target.
Yeah.
And I want, by the time I've shipped units to Patar, I want them attacking enemy base. I don't want them getting in fights on Patar, defending Patar. So I'm relying on cargo on cargo shipping to get fuel on Patar in this game. So I've got 2 units left on. So my strategy at this point, Planet 5 still under attack. That was well defended last I looked. I want 3 units, so 3 shiploads of troops are going to recruit and send to enemy base. And then with a 4th ship, I'll pick up the garrison from Planet 8 and from Patar, from my refueling stations. And I'll throw that in as a 4th ship. So I'll have 4 shiploads attacking enemy base. And that will knock him enough onto the defensive that he's not going to start attacking new targets like my refueling stops.
Yeah.
So my cargo ship is on its way to Patar to fuel up, to carry fuel to Patar. I sometimes rename these. It's actually a good idea if you're not in a massive hurry.
I was gonna ask. I have an answer. He gives them all fancy names, and yours are Planet 1, 3, 4, 5.
You
6,
can
7,
rename them, as I sometimes do. You rename it as food 1 or garden or mining 1 or something, so you remember which one's which. But on this one, I'm just relying on renaming. Well, that would be complicated. So I've got 2 shiploads heading for Patar or on Patar. I need a 3rd shipload. I need fuel on Patar, so that's my cargo ship unload. It doesn't quite have enough fuel in his fuel tank to make a round trip, so I'm just adding a little fuel of that load into the fuel tank, and that will get him back to Planet 8. And I'm waiting for those four units that I put into training. When they're ready to commission, I'm ready to go on the attack. Starbase now has a population of 11,000. That's good. That's nice and stable. I've got over 1 million credits, so not short of cash for when these go. Again, you could cut corners. This first attack, I think you really need. I don't want to cut any corners and send troops that aren't 100% trained, because I'm relying on this first attack to take the initiative.
Yeah. If you lose on the first one, you need to scramble around a bit.
Well, I'm going to lose. So the first, it is a suicide attack.
Oh.
It is a suicide attack, but it stops him attacking me and it weakens enemy base. Now, my target is to win in 20 years by 2030. It took me years to get to the stage I could do that. Literally years. Not game years, as in it's now 2024 and I've been trying to do it since I only been able to do it this year.
I remember you saying, yes.
It used to take 3 or 4 waves of attacks for me to win the game. I can now do it in 2 waves.
2 waves.
So the first wave is going to be 16 units, 4 shiploads. That's the difference. Actually, it used to be my first wave would only be 12 units, and that's enough to take the initiative, but it's not enough to really weaken the enemy base enough.
Yeah.
So these are nearly fully trained now. That's what I'm waiting for.
I see his face. The reasonable Rorn's face has gone red.
Yeah, so like I say, the more
'Cause-
planets he controls, the more that comes up. So so battle 4 is my third set of 4 troops. So that is on its way out, stopping at the first refueling stop. Again, don't have masses of spare fuel on planet 8, but enough for the second. And now I've got 2 more units on Starbase, and they need to defend planet 5. So this should be the last time pretty much I have to defend planet 5.
Yeah, before you just send in your first wave on the
And in the
suicide run.
meantime, I've got to keep the fuel coming, reload my fuel tanker. Actually, sometimes I use 2 fuel tankers. So there's one ferrying between my mining base and the first fueling stop, and another one going between the 2 fueling stops. But this time playing, I've only got 1. So that is now, planet 5 is now secure. And battle 1 now I'm not bringing back. So planet 1 is going to pick up the last 4. So I've got 12 units of fresh troops on their way to enemy base.
After your 6 dead units.
And then battle 1 is going to pick up the spare garrisons. So that's 2, 3, and 4. Battle 2, Battle 3, Battle 4 are on the way to enemy base now. Unload a load of fuel on planet 8 and go back to pick up more. And Battle 1 has no troops on board right now. I've got to fuel that up. And I'm going to pick up the garrison here from planet 8, which has never been attacked. So that's 2 more units, and then I'm also going to pick up the garrison from Patar. So nothing going on right this second. I've still got 1 million credits, so that I'm half. So I've got 12 units on the way to enemy base, and I've got 1 million credits, which is enough for about 10 more units.
Yeah.
I need another 16 units, but in the time it takes to run the attack on enemy base and then train up more troops, I'll have all the cash I need. So I'm still moving fuel around, filling up on planet 4 again. And battle 1 has made it to Patar. So Patar has 2,500 fuel on it. So I don't quite have 16 full strength troops, because those last 2 have already fought the battle for Patar, so they're a bit below full strength, but they're pretty close. So unload 12 units onto enemy base. The battle has started.
All right. Battle 1. This is the suicide run, right?
This is the suicide run.
Because you're the good guy.
And planet 1. I've messed up here. I need one of these troops to take off. And battle 1 unloads, so that's the last 4. So you can see by the strength there, I'm slightly below his strength. I've got about 20 odd thousand to 27,000. And in battles, he's always another disaster there hit planet 5 again. Very luckily, not one I'm using. Yeah. Oh no, it did say planet 5?
Planet 5 is one of your...
Was it planet 6? I think it was planet 6. I don't think it was planet 5.
Okay, if it's planet 6, that's fine. Planet 5 is one of your useful ones.
That's one of my... Although even at this stage in the game, I can afford to lose one of my food planets, right?
Yeah.
Because...
all you need is cash.
All I need is the cash, and I've got most of the cash. So, again, if I can strip the garrison even...
Yeah.
As it's been, I've only got...
What's your tax rate currently?
It should be 40 everywhere.
Okay.
Again, they're...
I mean, if you want the cash fast, could you not just jack the taxes up to the point?
As soon as you jack the tax rate, your population starts decreasing. You don't get much cash quickly that way. But yeah, if you know you're going to, if you know you're going to lose a planet, then yeah, you do that.
Yeah.
Get as much as you can out of it. So I'm now bringing the battleships home empty. Again, they've got to make two refueling stops again on the way back.
Yeah.
the troops, nicely die, and you just send more. But I mean, you could do the same thing. You could actually disband what's the word? Scrap. That's the word. You can scrap the battleships and build more.
Decommission.
Scrap, I think, is the term they use for the ships. You can scrap the ships and build more, but maybe that's better than bringing them home. I tend to bring them home. Again, to build more, you need more minerals and stuff, which I probably have. And they're not very expensive. It might actually be more sensible to scrap the ships on Ptar and build fresh ones on Starbase. But the thing is, when you've just started your battle, that's actually a moment you have some... Yeah, it's Planet 6. Planet 6, they got trashed. So that's why it doesn't matter.
Yes, when you just started your battle? When you've just started your battle.
You actually have time, right?
Yeah.
It's one moment where you're not very busy, so it's not a big deal to do all this faffing to send your ships back in even with so Planet 8 is pretty low on fuel now. Battle 4 is on Planet 8, and I'm down to 1,000. That's going to practically use all the fuel on Planet 8. So Cargo 1 is also I've screwed up here.
Oh no!
I've run out of fuel on. Now I do have a mining station here, so my cargo ship is actually stuck on Planet 8 until I can get enough fuel there for it to fly to a refueling base. I'm getting it rather fine on fuel. So Battle 1's landed. So these are all my units on enemy base, and that's my attack on enemy base. So I got him down to 16,000. And my units are now all wiped out, so I need to re-recruit more. So actually, I'm going to... have I done this? I probably want to drop my tax rate a couple of % just because I'm about to take 2,000 population out and put them in training as troops. But I've got nearly all the cash now I need to equip them.
Yeah. So it's as you brought up before with how much time you have to spend just holding down the sliders.
Yeah. And that just is a big part of the game.
Equip your entire, not equip, but
train
your entire army.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is half a minute spent.
Yeah, but it's nearly a day of game time per unit. So it's like 20 days to go through all of this, a third of a year just to order the troops into training. And then it's 100 days for them all to be trained, but 120 days for the last one to be trained because it took 20 days to get it into training. You see, my population is down to 9,000 now, which is a bit low. But again, I'm not bothered, right? I've got plenty of cash. If my population is 9,000 when it could be 11,000, I'm getting a little less tax in. But it's as long as I win it on the second wave attack.
You jack the aggression up?
I say my mining stations now are more effective. I'm producing more fuel from each of my mining stations. That's very helpful at this point.
Yeah.
I might hack the game and take that out to make it more interesting.
Whatever happened to those bugs you were telling me about a few months ago? There's a bug event that just got scrapped in production.
Oh, yes, I found that there are events I saw in the code that don't actually happen. I can't remember. Yeah, there was some. Yeah, I've forgotten about that.
You should mod those back in.
What am I doing? Okay, so now, I'm reducing the black garrison on Planet 5 again. So all his strength now is going to reinforcing enemy base. Yeah, I took out half the defenders of enemy base from 27,000 to 16,000. So over time he will strengthen enemy base. And if that gets back up to strength, he will then start attacking me again. But I intend to hit him before that happens. So I have left a small garrison on Planet 5 in case it does happen. So I've got another 4 units here that were on Planet 5 that I'm now putting back into training, but they're somewhere behind. I've got 16 units that are in training because they were all wiped out on enemy base. And now I've got another 4 units that I've brought back from Planet 5 and put back into training. So I've got 20 units in training now, which will take 2.2 million credits, but I've got nearly 2 million already. And now I've got to fuel up my ships on Starbase. So cargo 1. So I'm still rather low on fuel on Planet 8, but the mining station on Planet 8 is now producing twice as much fuel as it was. So this is all getting a bit easier now. So I'm going to bring some fuel back to Starbase, again, because I've got to launch 5 battleships now from there. Battle 1. Where's... Oh, Cargo 1. Yeah, Cargo 1 on Starbase. Again, using the cargo ships' fuel tanks as a bit of extra cargo there, because it can... the different kinds of ships have different sized fuel tanks. So a battleship has 850-ton fuel tank, which means it can only go... It takes 100 fuel to launch, and then 50 per planet in distance. So with 850, it can only go from planet 1 to halfway. Whereas the cargo ships have like 1100 fuel tank. The mining stations have 1400 fuel tanks. So they can carry more. They can go further in one go. So again, the battleships, Battle 1 and Battle 2, are fully fueled and have fuel in their cargo bays. That fuel in the cargo bays doesn't get unloaded until Ptah, and that's enough fuel actually for them to get to enemy base. So they have to refuel at Planet 8, refuel from their own, what they've carried in their cargo ships on Ptah, fly to enemy base and back, refuel again on Ptah, go to Planet 8, refuel again on Planet 8 and go back to Starbase. Again, if you're just trying to win the game and you're not in a rush, it's much easier to wait. 2032, I think you get the you get that. You don't get the nuclear, but you get the twice as much. You use half as much fuel, and using half as much fuel, you only need to make 1 refueling stop, not 2. It gets much easier.
Yeah.
But I want to win before that happens. That was an ambition of mine for a long time, and it took a lot of work to get to this. Yeah.
Like,
again, I play this on and off, so I probably went years without playing it, but yeah. But the way I did it actually was I did hack the game to take that effect out, and then I was able to get quicker and quicker. I got to like 2034, 2035, and so on. So, again, just shipping fuel around. It's actually really straightforward from here, right? I've got to move, so I've got to get all the right fuel in the right place, but fundamentally, I'm just waiting for
back and forth. Yeah,
waiting for the troops to be trained. I've got the cash ready to equip them. I've got the ships to load them on.
I think I've asked already, but are you going to jack their aggression up now that it's on the...
Yeah. Again,
the final victory of...
That I will when I finally land. Yeah, when I have 20 troops on enemy base, then I will.
Yeah.
So, got ship some fuel to Ptah, and I'm starting to my first 16 units are coming up to 100%. That one's at 99. Again, here is where it maybe does make sense to cut the corner, but I'll start getting them off. So, Battle 1.
What would be cutting the corner?
To commission them at less than 100% trained.
Oh, okay.
So that one's at 99, right?
Yeah.
So by waiting, you know,
You're giving him a chance to raise his defenses.
every day Charlie squats in the bush, he gets stronger. I'm giving him time to recover while my units are training. So if for a day, for holding up a day, I've got 20 units that are all getting 1% stronger, that's worth it. But by the time I've only got 3 or 4 left that I'm sending out, it probably makes sense to say, well, this one's at 97, this one's at 95. Let's just send them out now and get those ones that are already at 100 are going to hit 2 days sooner, where the enemy's 2 days weaker.
Yeah, so you're just filling up your ships.
So I've now commissioned all 16 of the original 16, but I have another 4 in training that aren't quite at 100% yet. So I'm going to buy another battleship, crew it, fuel in the cargo bay, and I've got 4 units there at 88, but these ones have to go. Battle 1 is on planet 8. First refueling stop. Yeah, you do want to hit all at once, right? You don't want to land a small amount of troops. It is realistic in that respect. You don't attack one at a time. You attack all at once.
Yeah, yeah.
If you attack one at a time, you get picked off.
The plan was to blitz them to shock his defense, then just blitz them again to finish them off with your overwhelmingly rich army.
So I've just dumped a cargo load of fuel on Ptar. Again, shouldn't really be necessary because I don't need to come home. If I win this battle, I don't need to bring the ships home.
Yeah. You're resisting the urge to get really, cocky and aggressive and just...
Yeah, stuff could go wrong.
Yeah.
But, stuff... This is... Keeping all this straight in your head... I've frequently got to the point where I land a ship on an enemy base and then find it's got no troops on board because I didn't load it right.
no.
I didn't load them in the right order. You do have to keep it all straight in your head. What's going on? So that's Battle 5. So that's Battle 5 is outbound. Battle 4 is on its way to Ptar. Battle 1 is above Ptar, so that's got one more leg of to drop the fuel on Ptar and head out to enemy base. Battle 2 is above Ptar. Drop the fuel on Ptar, fuel up again. On its way to enemy base. Battle 3 has made it to Ptar. Battle 4 has also made it. But Battle 5 is still on its way to Planet 8. That's the stragglers.
Yeah.
So Battle 5. But I've got enough fuel just about left on Planet 8. Not much spare. And if I do have to bring all these home, I think I'm short of fuel on Planet 8, but cargo ship's on its way to Planet 4 to fill up. So land 3 on... So I've landed the ships on enemy base, but I've not unloaded the troops yet. I'm going to do it now. So that's 1, 2, 3. So he's up to 23,000 now. So with Battle 4... I think I just beat that, but that's close. With his gradual reinforcement that happens, that's probably not enough. So let's get these guys out. But with Battle 5 on its way, that should be enough. So Battle 5 is still on its way. Last refueling stop.
That's fine.
But I'm holding, I'm slightly beating him on enemy base for now. We'll just fill up that fuel while we're waiting to get to enemy base. Again, this shouldn't actually be necessary.
Yeah, I'm expecting the return voyage.
But if they need to come back, I need to have fuel on planet. Oh, I need to fuel on Patar for them. And Battle 5 reaches enemy base. I'm still... Oh, I've got 20 to 16, yeah. And then dump the last 4 there. 27 to 15. So it's a good ratio, 2 to 1. So when I hit the... Again, in case anything goes wrong, if I need reinforcements, having at least 1 or 2 battleships that are ready to bring more out. You know, I could strip all... There's no way he's attacking me now. I could strip all my remaining troops if necessary. From Planet 5 and send them in as well. I've got four units on Planet 5. But... I'm actually doing fine. 22,000 to 8,000. So now I'm just bumping the aggression up a bit. There you go. That makes... It puts me at a slight disadvantage, but it makes everything happen quicker.
Yeah.
So the strength is increased because of the aggression, but the rate at which I take casualties is also increased.
Yeah. It's one of those good in the short term.
Yeah, but...
and in long term ideas.
But yeah, if I've got a 3 to 1 strength ratio, I'm going to win anyway, and it just means I win quicker, but with heavier casualties.
Yeah.
Still faffing around, bringing back ships. That's not necessary.
His face has gotten less opaque.
So yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
10 to 1 ratio, 20 to 1 ratio. 12/2029 is the date. 13/2029. Boom! You have conquered enemy base.
And there it is. You are now the evil overlord of the world.
I am. You've successfully taken the enemy's planet. You have won control of the Yotsu system and have truly mastered the art of supremacy. Bring him in.
Congratulations.
And take him out. And there's a little animation too.
Yes. Cute little sparkle effect. Oh! A cutscene. Are you sure you're not the villain? I feel like the reasonable Rorn was minding his own business. Not even called evil layer, just enemy base. I think you were the baddie in that one.
But that was 90 minutes of game time.
Yep.
I don't think I'm not familiar with this speedrunning community of whom you have spoken, but I don't think there are established records for this.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, there's a very high chance you're the #1 Supremacy fan.
Yeah. I used to have a 386 that I would just boot off a floppy and play this on in DOS back when I got it originally. I bought it originally when it was a current game, probably 1991 or 2. Hacked it to remove the copy protection. Again, I just because it's a pain. I have the manual somewhere. I can type in the word from the manual, but and played it on and off over the years. This playthrough, I was playing using the DOS-EMU emulator on Linux. But for a long time, I had an old PC that I just ran DOS on to play this on.
That's so cool. My only experience of the game until today was the poster on my brother's wall. He had a poster of the guy looking over the world.
That came with the box, yeah.
That's how you play and beat Supremacy.
Yep. It came on a single 1.44 megabyte floppy.
Back in the day.
So that is 400,000 times smaller than the games that you're trying to download on your Xbox One.
Unbelievably. Oh,
Yeah.
1.1 megabyte. 1.4.
Actually, yeah, so 1.44 megabyte. I don't know if it's a 1.44 megabyte disk. It might be in a 720 kilobyte disk. I think it is 720 kilobyte disk.
I swear, like, the original Doom's also like.
Oh yeah, that was single floppy as well.
4.5 megabyte,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the oldest game I've ever like played consistently. I think so.
I think this is older. Yeah.
Yeah, when did it come out?
As I say, about 1991. Originally for the Commodore Amiga, so there was a port to DOS.
Yeah.
And the Amiga was around in the 80s.
Oh. Well, now you've won.
Yep. So I think this isn't the earliest in game time I've won, but it's pretty close. And I think 90 minutes is possibly the fastest in real time that I've won it in. I've checked my other videos. I think I had a really good one, and I'd forgotten to press record in the. I had the video, I had the recorder open, and I forgot to press record, and I won in like 2026 or something.
That's tragic. Yeah.
But yeah, summarize the strategy. Step 1, cut the tax rate. You want to grow your population on Starbase to the maximum that you can support with 3 horticultural plants, which is about 8,800 population. Because of the way the population growth lags, what that means is you want to get to about half that population, to about 4,500, and then ramp the tax rate up to 38, 39. And it will level off at about the right amount, and then you'll have a tiny population growth, which you'll be using for ships for crews and to recruit into your army. So first step, cut the tax rate to 0. Second step,
Energy.
buy and launch 6 solar satellites. Third step, buy mining stations, crew them. Don't crew them when your population is below about 2,500. Let it grow to 2,500, 2,600, 2,700. Crew a mining station, put it on the planet. Crew the second one, put it on the planet. You may or may not have enough cash to buy a third one before your population has reached its target and you've started raising taxes again. But once you have tax money, buy a third one. Then get your terraformatter and start formatting the closest planets. Then buy, as soon as you have the cash, 3 horticultural plants, put them on Starbase to support your population of 9,000. And then as you get decent planets, you want 2 populated planets that can be either jungle or urban. And as soon as possible, you want volcanic planet. Put a couple of mining stations on that to provide your minerals. You'll start by defending. As soon as you start putting things on other planets, you need to defend them. If you get a good planet very early, if like planet 1 is a good planet, you probably have to defend that with a unit with the minimal equipment. In this game we played through, planet 1 and planet 2 were rubbish. Planet 3 was the first one I had to defend. And by that stage, I had enough cash I could bring up. So I went to the second level of armor and the second level of weapons, which cost 44,000. So that's what I put on them. I didn't, but sometimes if you're expanding earlier, your first few units may be minimum 20,000 per unit on equipment, but obviously that makes them weaker. You're going to need to, as soon as they're attacked, you've got to be recruiting more and sending them out. But you're using men instead of money, and if you've got men instead of money, that's okay. And build out from there. You want, as soon as possible, to have 2 populated planets as well on top of Starbase. If you don't get a mining station, and I've certainly had games where I've terraformed 8, 9 planets and none of them have been volcanic, then that just means you have to put mining stations on other planets. In that case, you're definitely better off with jungle planets than urban planets, because you can put three horticultural stations on a jungle planet, which is enough to support the maximum population, and that leaves you 3 spaces to put mining stations on. But you will probably need 3 mining stations, whereas if you have a volcanic planet, one or two is plenty. So then once you've got the cash rolling in from 3 populated planets, then terraform a planet that is towards the limit, one of the last 3 in the second column from the right. Ideally one that's volcanic, but it doesn't matter too much if it's not. That becomes your first refueling base, and then attack. Once you've got that, and you've got fuel rolling out, then attack one of the planets. And I always go for the second one from bottom on the leftmost column, and take that as your second refueling base.
Don't forget to try and expand your planets a bit, just in case random dangers.
Yeah, so you keep. Yeah, so I always terraform the 8 in the right-hand column.
Yeah.
Whether I use them or not, and then I jump from that to my first refueling spot. And sometimes, I didn't do it this game, but once you've got your refueling spot, you can just terraform the ones in between. You'll never use them. They're not actually. It's not worth trying to use them. But I was very lucky in this game. So you have a few disasters that happen. You have acid rain that destroys ships. You have poisonous leaks that kill your population, but you can reintroduce a new population. And then you have a nuclear accident that makes the planet completely uninhabitable. And then late in the game, you can get an asteroid hit that basically means you have to re-terraform the planet. Also, later in the game, you get a bonus, which is a fertility drug that means your population grows faster, which means you can increase the tax rate from 40 to 51 and keep a stable population. So it means you get more cash from the same planets. But this game didn't go.
Didn't go long enough.
Didn't go long enough. So
you got acid rain.
Yeah.
And you got super vegetables.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get the meteor strike. That happens, I think, like 2040 or something.
Yeah.
We didn't get the double efficient spacecraft. That means it only takes 25 fuel per planet instead of 50 for the ships.
We didn't want that.
And then we didn't get you've discovered blueprints of enemy microfilm, and you can now make battleships, but only battleships, but they're the only things that matter. Battleships that don't use fuel. So yeah, that's all the faffing I was doing with fueling bases and cargo ships and shipping out mining stations. If you're just patient, you can just you can just fly your battleship straight from starbase to enemy base.
I think that's the major things that we're going over all these strats. But past the first few strats of cut the taxes, get the energy in, past that kind of stuff, you can try and rush, you can try and speedrun it all you like, but also if you wait it out, that's not going to put you in a worse position.
No, you once you've got that, again, the only things that it is the disasters. When you get if one of your populated planets becomes toxic, you can't use it anymore. You actually have to find a different planet, populate that. Takes a while. So, but yeah, in general, time is on your side. The frustrating thing for me was for years that I wanted to beat it fair and square, if you like, with the 2 fueling bases, but I couldn't do it fast th I built the 2 fueling bases, but before I could actually defeat enemy base, I got the your engineers have developed a new drive that uses half as much fuel. It's like, damn, I didn't want it. So I literally disassembled the game, found out how that's implemented, and I was able, at the end of the day, you change 1 byte in the file. I just changed it so it happens like 100 years later or something. And then, it then took me, probably 10 or 12 games of, now I actually have to do it with the 2 fueling bases, and I was able to do it earlier and earlier until I could get it to the point now that wasn't playing my hacked version, that was playing the regular version, because the more efficient drive doesn't happen until 2031 or 2032. This was 2029, wasn't it? I think it was like 2029.
Yeah, 29.
Yeah, so that's within 20 years.
Yeah.
Again, it used to go to like 2050. If you lose, the notable thing again, I didn't screw anything up. Quite often, you can lose a planet, right? I got very close. I think I got down to like 8 people defending a planet once.
Yeah.
If you lose a planet, he takes it over. You can take it back. When you take it back, you might find he won't have left your ships. So, you'll probably, if you had a high population, there'll be a lower population. You won't have your ships. You might have different ships. So there is another strat, which is you try and take stuff off him. You can hit his planets, and you might find that there's mining stations on his planets, which you can fuel up and take off and fly to your own. Didn't get any of that. The only planet I took off him in this was Patar, and it didn't have I didn't have anything on it. Obviously, because of the limits built into the game, if you have 24 ships, you can't possibly have any ships on a planet you conquer, because there isn't space for them in the grid. Bit of an artificial thing. It would be interesting to change the game to so you could have 60 ships or 100 units or whatever, but it's all tied into the graphics. When I hacked the game, I didn't touch any of the actual UI elements of it, the graphics and the controls. So that would be, literally there's no user interface to access more than 24 ships or more than 32 ships, more than 24 units. But that's but you can, the game logic, the code is interesting, I guess, because it was ported from 68,000. The high level, a lot of the high level game logic, like the events, happens in a there's kind of an interpreter that runs in the code, and these are defined in data as rules saying, if the year is greater than this and these conditions are set, then change this and change that and change that, not as literally binary code, but as labels, as data that's being interpreted by a chunk of code. But that's another matter. If I'm do another video, if I'm going to disassemble the game and show how it works. But that's all about, I didn't look into the UI element of it. I didn't look into the combat element of it either, so I don't know how he decides what he's going to attack or how many troops he attacks with. I don't know how much of it, I don't know if there's really any, how much it's simulating him as a player as opposed to just things happening to you. But it does work. Again, once you before, when I was winning the game more slowly, like I say, I used to attack with 12 units first, which would just take the pressure off my defenses because he would stop attacking me while he was rebuilding. But then my second wave attack, he would be back to full strength again. So it wouldn't be, so I'd need a second stage attack to weaken him and then a third stage attack to win, sometimes even a fourth stage. I don't know if there's enough, there might be completely different strategies you could use that might work. Like I say, I've never tried really any majorly different way of attacking him. Taking all his planets off him, I don't think does a huge amount. Again, maybe if you attack one of the planets close to enemy base, you could see you could win, and maybe that would throw him onto the defensive. It wouldn't. He'd attack that back, so you'd then have to defend that. I think the way I do it is the best way, but I'd be fascinated if anyone has a different strategy, an entirely different strategy rather than just, do X before Y instead of Y before X, kind of speeding up or slowing down.
I mean, you mentioned those the concept of spying, but you never used that.
Yeah, well, I occasionally use it. So you can spy on a planet and it'll tell you what the military strength is on the planet. So you could do that. Let's say I could spy on a few of his planets, so I could try and identify one that looks like it doesn't tell you directly that this is a volcanic planet, but if he has a lot of fuel and minerals on it, maybe that means it's a volcanic planet and he's got mining stations on it. So I could attack that and grab his mining stations. You could do things like that, but hard to see how you would gain very much. Again, by the time you're able to generate millions of credits, everything else is easy. Generating enough fuel is easy. Having whatever you want on whatever planets you want is easy.
Do you know the biggest hurdle in the game is basically inventory space?
Yeah, inventory space and time management. Literally, your time management is the thing. It's like I say, you could have a population of 30,000 on Starbase and have a jungle planet with a few horticultural stations on it, but a low population, and ship food from that planet to. But you saw what it was like shipping fuel around. That's the only thing I ship around in life. I ship minerals to Starbase in the early phase so I can build out ships, and I ship fuel around a bit. Again, mostly so that I'm not making distant planets a target by having mining stations on it. I'm sure if you put 3 mining stations on the equivalent of Planet 8 here, it's going to constantly be under attack. And it's just much harder. You've got to respond earlier because you've got to send troops out to defend it with enough time for them to get there. It was taking me, it takes 5 days to fly from Starbase to Planet 5. It would take 12 days to fly from, 14 days to fly from Starbase to what was Planet 8 in that game. Yeah. And, you're losing strength in the meantime, and it's just awkward.
Yeah.
So, if anyone wants to know how to beat this 34-year-old game, 33-year-old DOS port of 35-year-old game, whatever it is, now you know, and you can ask me if you have more problems in the comments.